Hey everybody, Ryan here at etrailer. Today we're going to be checking out the Brophy aluminum trailer hitch ball mount. So when it comes to picking out a ball mount, you want to make sure you get the proper one for your particular application. That way, your trailer and your towed vehicle will be nice and level whenever you're going down the road. It does make a difference with your towing experience. With that said, you start looking at ball mounts and there is a ton of them out there, and trying to figure out which one will be best, can get a little tricky sometimes. There's ones that are kind of your good old classic plain Jane ones. They get the job done, all the way up to, adjustable ones that have multiple balls on them and everything in between. And honestly, that's where this one kind of falls. It's made from aluminum, so that kind of separates it, as well as it's polished. It looks really good, especially on a vehicle like the Cadillac here. Just kind of makes sense. But that's all subjective to your own personal taste and everything like that. With that said though, when it comes to choosing the ball mount, you want to make sure that you get the appropriate drop or rise. That way everything will work correctly. And to figure that out, it is really straightforward. This particular ball mount is going to have a 6-inch drop, so you can see it comes down like this. And if you were to flip everything over, it's going to offer us a 5-inch rise. So to figure out if this is the correct size that you need, what you're going to do is take your towed vehicle and back it up to your trailer. About like this is fine, and try to get on level ground as much as you can. And you're going to measure from the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening there on your tow hitch down to the ground. All right, take that measurement, come to your trailer, make sure it's level, measure from the bottom of the coupler down to the ground, and whatever that difference is, that's going to determine what size drop or rise that you're going to need. One thing that a lot of people seem really happy with is just how this is built in general. And after kind of checking this out for a little bit, I could agree with them. One of the things that a lot of people notice is this is just one solid piece. All right, so there's no welds or support gussets or anything like that. And generally speaking, if a ball mount or anything really has those type of things, that's going to be kind of the weak point, and the spot that's probably most likely to fail. And with this being all solid, it's just really well built. I have a really hard time seeing that happening. Something I do want to mention is that the ball mount is not going to come with the ball or the pin and clip. Not really a big deal, if you have an old ball that you can reuse like we have here today, perfectly fine. Same holds true with the pin and clip. If you need those items, you can grab them here at etrailer. The only thing to look out for though when you're choosing the ball, just make sure it has a 1-inch diameter shank. That's what the ball mount is designed to work with. And make sure that the pin and clip you get is a 5/8 in size. So nothing really too out of the ordinary there, and you should have tons of different options and styles that you can pick from. Something that I did notice is the length of the ball mount. It's actually pretty long, from where it goes into our hitch to where the ball is. That's a pretty good distance, not excessively long, but longer than kind of your traditional standard type ones. And that's perfectly fine. I actually kind of like it because I'm thinking, you got to put your trailer on here, you got a little bit more room to work with, and kind of puts a little bit bigger of a gap behind your trailer and your towed vehicle, your trailer. But with that said, one thing maybe to think about, because of this extra distance, is the safety chains that are on your trailer. They are going to have to stretch a little bit further than they probably typically would. If they're pretty long on your trailer, not a huge deal. If you need to extend them a little bit too, again, not really a huge deal. Just something to kind of keep in mind. With that said, as far as the weight capacities go for the ball mount, they're going to be pretty high actually. It's going to have an 800-pound maximum gross tongue weight rating, and that's going to be the amount of weight that's pushing down on it. And it's going to have an 8,000-pound maximum gross trailer weight rating. So that's going to be the amount of weight that is pulling on it. With those numbers in mind, really what's going to be the limiting factor in between this and how much you can actually pull is, partly going to be reliant on some of your other components, like your trailer hitch, for example, and how much your vehicle is actually rated to tow. So you definitely want to know that information, and whichever component is rated, at the lowest spec, you never want to exceed that number, if that makes sense. This ball mount is designed to work with those 2-inch by 2-inch hitches, really common there. And as far as the shank goes here, it's set up pretty good. You have a lot of space up here and a decent amount here. So unless you have like a crazy shallow hitch, you're not going to have any issues plugging that in. If we go from the end here to the center of the hitch pin hole here, that distance, that's going to be 2 5/8 of an inch. And from here, the center of the hitch pin hole to where it starts to bend, that's going to be about 4 3/4 of an inch. So, generally speaking, unless you have kind of an odd hitch, you really shouldn't run into any issues as far as, getting this in here and being able to put your pin and clip through there. So at the end of the day, a really nice ball mount, actually. I would definitely have the confidence to use it for myself whenever I was pulling my trailer down the road. And, since it is made from aluminum, it's going to be lighter, a little bit more manageable to handle. And you're not going to have to worry about corrosion issues or anything like that. So you should definitely get quite a bit of use out of this thing for years to come. Now, if, you're really not looking for something like this, aluminum, you just kind of want the classic type ball mount that's made from steel and everything else. You have a ton of different options, which ones you can grab. And if you're someone that is, pulling a lot of different trailers, using it on a lot of different tow vehicles, and you want some adjustability there to keep everything going with different size balls and everything like that, you have a ton of options as far as the adjustable ones like that go. I've seen a lot of them. I'm kind of partial to the B&W ones, to be honest. Just about any of those from B&W are really good, but that's not to take away from the other ones as well. They're all really good, for the most part. It's really just going to depend on, what you're trying to get out of it and your personal preference. But with all that said, that'll finish up our look at of the Brophy aluminum trailer hitch ball mount.